Hi there. I am going to go through the calibration of my new 35 amp discharge unit for 2-cell lipos. Brand new, haven't got it out on the market yet. I've just manufactured a few so far, but I'll be getting them out on the market here shortly, either on eBay. I may decide to go on to Facebook here. Never been a Facebook person. This unit, 35 amps at 7.5 volts. It's also switchable. It's 15, 25, and 35 at 7.5 volts. We'll go through the calibration process here fairly quickly, maybe a little quicker than my first video, and show you how to do this if it ever gets reset. I'll also kind of go through how to, if you want to change the shut-off voltage, I will be doing that too, because this is a new unit. Although I have gone through the calibration process once, we'll go through it again and show you how to do it. So I'll sit down here. First thing to do is, okay, we got 3 buttons here. First thing I'll say, never hold down the top button. That resets the unit. You'll have to go through this calibration process. Never hold down that top button. But to get into the calibration process, we have to hold down the center button. It'll get in there. You maybe heard the beep of the alarm. My first video, my first discharge banks, that beeps pretty loud. I have figured out how to quiet it so it isn't quite so annoying. But anyway, I held down the button. I've got into the calibration process. First thing we'll want to do is go to step 5. This does the same thing as holding down that top button, but we'll do it here. And if you're ever on 5, you never want to change it from no, because that will reset the unit. We'll change it to yes. Press the center button and it resets the unit. First thing you have to do after you hit that reset button, you have to unplug it. You won't be able to adjust any of the figures. And we'll do that. We'll unplug the unit, plug it back in. You see now the meter isn't all zeroed out. We'll have to fix that. First thing to do, we'll go through the settings. But the first thing to do, there's a couple settings you have to set first. Hold down the center button and you go to setting 2. This is the amp setting of the unit. It can handle, the display can handle up to 50 amps. We need to set that number. The default's 15. We need to go to 50 with it. And up top and bottom buttons. Now you can hold it down when you're in the calibration mode. It'll go fast if you hold it down. The upper or lower buttons. So you go down with the lower one, go up with the upper one. And then we need to go to setting 13. And this is an older meter. There's 2 types of meters out there. And some of them will need to be set at 10, some will need to be set at 20. You can't tell the difference in the meters. Like I say, when I go through the calibration process before you get your unit, I'll have it set right. The instructions that come with the display, I include one of those with your unit, and those instructions will have the correct setting for this it's on a table inside the instructions. It'll say what the default number is for that display. I will always have the correct one of them in with your unit, but it'll either be 10 or 20. If the voltage looks like it's half of what it should be or double what it should be when you plug in a battery, then go to the opposite value. Say you had it on 20 and it shows you got 4 volts or whatever. Switch that number back to 10. Actually, I think it's the opposite way around. It'll read high if you got it set to 20. But anyway, if it's half or double what you know what the battery is, go to the other figure, 10 or 20. Anyway, we'll step through this. Nope. Center one, steps through. And for our calibration process, we'll want 14 figures set at 0. That's changes the status of the relay. We'll need that, have that set for 0. We'll change it here later. But then we go back to setting 4. Go click on through. Go back to setting 4. That's your save function. You want to change that to Y for yes. And click it. It'll go out. Okay, now what we'll need to do is go back into it again. Hold down the center button again. And here at the first screen, not with the battery isn't plugged in yet, we want to get that down to 0. So, and it's the same way, you click it, the button, it takes about 5 or 6 steps to get it to drop 1/100th of a volt, and that's the reading of the voltage on the bottom. And if you hold it down, it'll go quicker. Same way, top button, lower button. So we'll kind of hold it down. Once we see it move, we'll let right off. Do the same couple times. You try to get it down to 0.1. And now we're down to 0.02. We'll click down and take it on down. I don't know if you can see that now. After 5 or 6 clicks, it's down to 0.01. Click it on down till it's at 0. It's at 0. Go a couple more clicks just for good measure. That'll kind of keep it held at 0. And now we're done setting your voltage setting. The original voltage setting anyway. Okay, this is your amp rating. It's showing 1.3 amps, so of course that's way too high. We'll have to hold down that lower button. We'll creep it on down, do the same thing, get it down to 0. Or actually 0.01. I'm down to 0.5, 0.4, 0.3, 0.2, 0.1. Okay. Go just a little bit more here. Like I say, just clicking the button, it'll take about 5 clicks to get it to go 100th down to 0.01. Get it down to 0, and then go about 3, 4, 5 more clicks. And that should be pretty close. The amps are usually pretty close on this unit. We'll leave it alone for now. We'll click on through. We want the 3 setting to be in. I don't know if you've seen that when I went on through it, but that just tells what if the relay is active when the unit's first turned on. We don't want that, so that's it in. We'll go ahead and save while we're here. We'll set it to Y, save it, it'll go out. Hold the button back down again, and it looks like my amp one's not quite zeroed out, so we'll go back through it again, click it about 4 or 5 more times. That's the voltage still holding at 0. Current, it shows it at 0, but we'll click it about 4 or 5 times going down, the lower one. We did it 6 there. Say setting 2 is still at 50. 3 we want it in. 4 we'll go ahead and, well, we could save it, but we won't. We'll go on, click on through. Of course, the 5 is reset. We don't want to do that. Okay, we go to setting 6. That's your over voltage setting. This unit could handle 9 volts easily. My other units, my 23 amp ones that look like this, I'd like to set that at 8.8, but we can set that at 9 volts over voltage. That'll prevent somebody plugging in a 3-cell lipo into it, which will damage the unit. We'll go ahead and set that at 9 volts, holding down the top button until we get up to 9. Okay, that's set. We'll click on through, use the center button. 7 is the overcurrent setting. This unit is 35 amps. It could probably easily handle 45 amps, but we'll set it at about 42 amps. We'll do the same thing. Hold the button down. And actually, when you plug in a full battery, this unit will draw a little over 30, can pull a little over 37 amps out of the battery at 8 volts. 7 volts is down to about a little under 33 amps with both banks turned on. And as I'm going through, that's okay, when those are both off, it's 15 amps. Click one on, it's 25 amps. Click the other one on, it's 35 amps. You can use either one, to get 25 amps. We're getting closer. Takes a little while to get on up there to 42. That's where we'll set it. There we go. Okay, a little over, click it back down. Okay, set at 42 amps for your overcurrent. And that'll prevent also the 3-cell lipo thing. I don't think you'll ever hurt this unit as long as you plug a 2-cell lipo into it. Safety features. It's overpowered. We don't need to worry about that one. That's step 8. Amp hours, you don't need to worry about that one. Leave it alone. I can't remember what that one, but that's not one to worry about. 10 isn't. 11 is not used at all, so don't worry about that. And 12, this is the one you need to know. This is your low voltage shut-off point. And for right now, we're going to set it at about 8 volts. And there's a reason for that in the calibration process. And honestly, when we discharge a battery, I will have that, or you will receive it. It'll be set at 6.97, 6.96 volts. But for right now, we'll want to set it at 8. There's a reason for that, because in the calibration process, it actually tries to discharge the battery, and it's tough to get the voltage calibrated if the voltage is jumping around. But we'll set it up around 8, that way it'll shut off right away when I'm going through the calibration process. Anyway, we'll leave that there. 13, of course, we set that earlier. That's at 10 for this unit. Could be 10 or 20. 14 for right now, we'll set this at 0. After we get the unit calibrated, we'll turn that back to 1, but for right now we'll leave it at 0. There's a reason for that too. But we'll step on back to setting 4, on through, back to setting 4. We'll save everything by clicking Y. Unit's all set at zeros, and we're all good. Next thing, by truth, the voltage might be a little off at this 0 setting once we get the unit calibrated, but we want the voltage of the pack, you want to check it with the pack plugged in with a good readout like your iCharger or a good voltmeter to get your voltage set correctly. So we'll go ahead and plug this battery into my iCharger. See what the setting for the voltage. It's showing about 7.83 volts, and that's what we want to get your voltage set on the display for that battery. Okay, what we'll do, first thing we do, don't plug it in to the discharger yet because it'll start discharging. Go ahead and hold it down and get into the adjustments again, and of course setting 0. This is where we want to get this 7.83. Go ahead and check it. And the way we've been set this up, the unit won't be on right now. If we had that 14 setting set to 1, it'd be discharging right now, but it ain't. So we want to set it at 7.83. And just like before when we were setting this, you can hold it down. It goes quick. And just click on it. It takes about 5 clicks to get it to go 1/100 of a volt. 2, 4, 5. Yeah, we've done 10. It hasn't quite got there yet. But get it down to 7.83. Yeah, took a little more clicks than I thought, but anyway, it's set at 7.83. We're good. Now, go ahead and leave your battery plugged in, but step quickly to step 4 and save it. It will be, once it gets to setting 2, it'll kick the relay on and actually start discharging your pack. But do it quick. 1, 2, 3, 4. Click Y for your save setting and click it again. That's why we set something different. It automatically shut off right away. So now we got our voltage setting set correctly. Go ahead and unplug the battery. Click the center button, it shuts off the alarm. Now your unit is calibrated. Now we'll have to go through and change a couple settings. Hold down center button. Get into the adjustments. Go up to setting 6. Actually, no. Setting 12. Sorry about that. That was where we set the low voltage shut off. We'll take that down to 697. Actually, when I'm checking a new unit out, I'll only take it down to about 7. We'll go ahead and take it down to 697. And that's where you adjust on setting 12 where you want your low voltage cutoff. That's also the same place if you go into setting 12, you want to simulate maybe a run or discharge your batteries for the day. I like a figure of 7.4 in there, and that'll discharge your batteries down to about 7.6 to 7.8, maybe 7.9. That's a good place to leave your batteries stored at. But anyway, for a full discharge, 697, you might want to adjust this a little bit, especially with the 35. You're just going to use a 35 amp discharge and not use the other. I personally like to take it down, let it shut off, click off one bank, shut it off again, or let it run down, let it shut off, click down and discharge at 15 amps down to 697. That'll leave the pack about 715 to 74 depending on how good your pack is. But anyway, 697, go up to setting 14, that's the relay status. Now we want to change that to 1. Then step on back through to setting 4. Change that to yes to save. And now your unit is fully calibrated. Ready to go. And that's pretty much it. Have any questions, you're free to email me. The email will be included with or you leave your phone number, I'll give you a call back if you have any questions. that's it for calibration. Good luck to you. Hopefully you never have to do this. Takes a little while, but it's not really that hard if you just follow my instructions. So, good luck. Thanks for viewing my video.